We begin in Knoxville. There are now 2 head coach openings in the SEC. Butch Jones was finally fired at Tennessee. Coming into the season, his seat wasn't nearly as hot as many believed, even if actual wins and losses left a little to be desired. The Volunteers were in much better shape, both on and off the field, than they were half a decade ago. Only a complete collapse could have cost Jones his job. Well, UT has completely collapsed. Just last year, the Vols had maybe the most talented and experienced roster in the East. But this year, they're winless in conference play at 0-6 and making a dubious case as the worst team in the entire league. Can Athletic Director John Currie make a home run hire? That remains to be seen. But remember, Jones was the 3rd or 4th choice the last time around, as was Derek Dooley before him. All right, let's take it to the house with a pick 6. A 2-loss team is yet to make it to the college football playoff. But after totally destroying Georgia, Auburn is still alive for the Final Four. If the Tigers run the table, which means beating Alabama and then the Bulldogs a second time in the conference championship game, they'd have more quality wins than any program in America. Defeating the Crimson Tide would mean taking out number 1 twice in the span of 3 weeks. Because it clinched the East early and should finish the regular season schedule with 2 wins, Georgia can survive Saturday's hiccup. The Bulldogs will face either Alabama or Auburn in the SEC title game based on what happens in the Iron Bowl. So that's one last chance to impress the committee with a victory over a top 5 opponent. Still, they better take Kentucky seriously in Week 12 and not let one loss turn into 2. Alabama's Jalen Hurts continues to be the most underappreciated player in the conference. He was in the middle of a dogfight at Mississippi State. His defense all of a sudden couldn't get off the field consistently. But with a minute and change left on the clock and the score tied, he led a game-winning 6-play, 68-yard drive in only 44 seconds. And like Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, his pulse never got above 85. This is why Dan Mullen shouldn't leave Mississippi State for Florida or Tennessee. After coming up just short against the Crimson Tide, the Bulldogs actually moved up 1 spot in the AP poll from 18th to 17th. With the Gators and Volunteers, you're expected to win, even if those expectations are unrealistic. Nobody likes the term moral victory, but they're a lot more acceptable in Starkville than they ever will be in Gainesville or Knoxville. My preseason predictions up and down the conference standings have been much more right than wrong, but I really swung and missed on Arkansas. While I had the Razorbacks 3rd in the West, they're on track to finish dead last. Specifically, Austin Allen didn't have the big senior campaign I forecasted at quarterback. Now his replacement at the game's most important position, Cole Kelly, has been arrested for DWI. Jim McElwain, Butch Jones, Brett Bielema. South Carolina's Will Muschamp is currently my choice for Coach of the Year in this league. Last season, he inherited a 3-win team and immediately took it to 6 wins and a bowl berth. This season, he's on pace to finish 2nd in the East, ahead of Florida, ahead of Tennessee. The Gamecocks are only 11th in the SEC in total offense, and just 7th in total defense. But they're 5-1 in 1-score games. That's coaching. And finally, it may have come against lowly New Mexico, but Texas A&M's Christian Kirk returned yet another punt for a touchdown. It was a 90-yarder too. Because opponents are simply terrified to kick to him, he has only 7 punt return attempts all season long. As a matter of fact, despite being the primary punt returner in College Station for 3 years now, He has just 34 attempts in his entire career. Incredibly, Kirk has scored on 6 of them, 18% of the time. If the ball isn't being punted out of bounds or he isn't forced to call for a fair catch, he finds the end zone. I used to cover the Chicago Bears back when Devin Hester was there. He's the NFL's all-time leader with 14 punt return touchdowns. But he had 315 attempts in 11 seasons, scoring 4% of the time. Kirk must be from another planet. Thank you for watching, and for all SEC all the time, visit SaturdayDownSouth.com.